For 10 years, I was treated like a pet canary. He never promised me a wedding until the day I died. When I opened my eyes again, I was back 10 years earlier. To avoid the same nightmare, the first thing I did after my rebirth was to seek out his future archenemy. At that time, he was just a struggling mechanic. I slammed my bank card on the table. "Marry me, and I'll give you my salary after we're married." He gritted his teeth and replied, "If you pay me 3,000 a month, I'll agree." 1. I proposed to Jiang Jia. At that moment, he had a cigarette in his mouth. "What do you see in me?" I thought hard and managed to squeeze out, "Handsome." His laugh made my face turn red, and I bravely asked, "So, do you agree?" Jiang Jia didn't speak. He just stared straight at me, as if he could see right through my little scheme. I met his gaze, hoping he could see my sincerity. After a long while, he smiled. Casually, he replied, "A bride delivered right to my doorstep. Why wouldn't I agree?" So, I got married. On the second day after I traveled back, holding the little red marriage booklet, I still felt a deep sense of unreality. In my past life, I had actually met Jiang Jia. It was in the 7th year of being confined by Su Che. I had escaped from the villa, penniless. On the streets, I met Jiang Jia. By then, he was already a renowned businessman. Dressed sharply, he exuded an aura of unapproachability. I begged him to save me. Jiang Jia arranged a place for me to stay and provided a ticket for me to leave. However, later on, I was still found by Su Che. Not wanting to recall that past, I looked up at Jiang Jia and asked, "Where to next? Taking you home?" I was startled. "Aren't we married? So you didn't plan to take me home, too?" Jiang Jia lived in an unopened residential area. The building was not yet completed. It was bustling with construction workers. I used to move bricks here. Got a bit of a rapport with the contractor, so I stay here rent-free before it's handed over, he explained, perhaps noticing the confusion in my eyes. The house was in a raw industrial style. Apart from a military bunk, there was nothing else inside. The bathroom lacked even a flushing toilet. Just a tap for bathing. Jiang Jia looked at me. "Regrets? You can still run away now." "No regrets." I placed my luggage aside. "We'll sleep here tonight. Isn't the bed a bit small?" Jiang Jia squinted and responded, "It's enough." At night, I lay on Jiang Jia's military bunk. He casually spread a couple of newspapers on the floor and lay down. The room had no curtains, and through the glass, the bright moonlight was visible. "Jiang Jia, are you asleep?" MHM. Worried that he would catch cold sleeping on the floor, I moved to one side of the bunk. "Do you want to come up here? The bed is small, but we can manage if we squeeze in a bit." A few seconds later, Jiang Jia finally replied, "If I come over, don't expect to get any sleep." I clutched the blanket tighter. "I don't mind." As soon as I finished speaking, Jiang Jia, like a beast unleashed, flipped over and pounced on me. I didn't react in time and instinctively turned my head away. The weight on me lightened, and through the moonlight, I saw a mocking look on Jiang Jia's face. "Don't say things you don't mean. I'm a straightforward person and tend to take things seriously." After saying that, he moved to lie back on the newspaper. Seeing his intention, I grabbed the hem of his shirt in one swift motion. My fingers touched his body through the gap. Jiang Jia shivered all over, looking at me with a complex expression in his eyes. I bit my lip hard. "I really am willing." Afraid that he would refuse, I daringly scratched inside a little. Jiang Jia's eyes darkened. "Now, you've lost your chance." Unlike Su Che, who deliberately worked out in the gym to build his muscles, Jiang Jia, who worked year-round, had a naturally tanned and firm body, full of strength. Finally, I couldn't take it anymore and cried convulsively until he stopped. He roughly kissed away my tears and called me delicate in a dissatisfied tone, already in severe pain. He didn't offer comfort but instead criticized me for no reason. I was upset, turned over, and didn't want to look at him. He didn't bother with me either and got out of bed to do who knows what. I hugged the blanket, feeling more aggrieved as I thought about it. In my past life, Su Che kept me like a canary for 10 years. Only in death did I find liberation. I thought it was divine mercy, giving me a chance to start over. But Jiang Jia seemed like a completely different person. As I was crying, suddenly a hot towel covered my face. Jiang Jia had returned at some point, holding a basin and a hot towel. "You've been crying." I denied it. "No." Jiang Jia roughly wiped my face, then turned to wring out the towel. "What are you doing? There's no hot water in the house. Can't bathe. So this will make you feel a bit better." I was indeed feeling sticky. Putting aside my anger, I blushed and tried to grab the towel. "I can do it myself." "Stay put." Jiang Jia ignored my attempt, lifted the blanket, and placed the steaming towel on me. After a while, I heard Jiang Jia's voice, "Don't be mad. I'll be gentler next time, okay?" His voice had a hint of awkwardness. The warmth on my face slowly increased and I curled the corners of my mouth upward. I then covered my face with the blanket. The next day, when I woke up, Jiang Jia was already dressed neatly. There were 2 buns on the low table. I didn't know when he had gone out to buy them. "The hot water is ready. I'll take you to work after you wash up." "No need. I can go by myself." Jiang Jia glanced at me. "There are a lot of workers around here. It's not safe for you alone," he added. "Call me after work." I'll pick you up. It took me a while to finish washing up before I noticed the bank card on the table. It was the one I gave to Jiang Jia when I proposed to him yesterday. Don't forget the card, I said. Jiang Jia glanced at it. Keep it yourself. I'm not so broke as to use a woman's money, liar. He was clearly broke. Jiang Jia didn't take it, and I didn't argue. I figured maybe I could use the savings in the card to change houses first. If Jiang Jia didn't agree, at least we could get a new bed. Though it wasn't the golden house of my previous life, looking at Jiang Jia gave me a sense of inexplicable security. This good mood lasted until I got to work. As soon as I entered the office, Lu Ying came over with a mysterious air. Xiao Shi, I have good news for you. She lowered her voice. My cousin has taken a fancy to you. Me. She mysteriously pulled me aside. My cousin is no ordinary man. He's super handsome and has a good personality. Graduated from Cambridge. And his father is the richest man. Many wealthy heiresses have tried to get close to him, but he never cared. Yesterday, he suddenly asked me to set him up on a blind date with you. Lu Ying's eyes sparkled. Sister, your good days are coming. Graduated from Cambridge. Father is the richest man. A name suddenly popped into my mind. My face turned pale. I controlled my expression and declined as calmly as possible. I might have to apologize to your cousin. I'm not so fortunate. I'm married. Lu Ying didn't believe it. We've been colleagues for a year. And you've never even mentioned a partner. How could you suddenly be married? Really, we've registered. We haven't had the wedding yet, but I'll send you an invitation when we do. I smiled. I have classes soon. I better head to the classroom. After saying that, I quickly left. Not until I stepped out did I feel like I had lost all my strength. Suche, he wasn't supposed to appear at this time in my last life. Why did he show up so much earlier? And how did he know I was teaching at the same school as Lu Ying? My hands and feet turned cold. I comforted myself. In this lifetime, I'm already married. I already have Jiang Jia. I will definitely not make the same mistakes again. Suche's premature arrival definitely affected my mood. I was distracted all day. My right eyelid kept twitching. It felt like something was about to happen. Sure enough, just as I was leaving school after work, I saw a black car parked at the gate. The car emblem was conspicuous. Seeing me, the man in the car stepped out, holding a bunch of roses. Miss Chan, he called out to me, introducing himself with a smile. Sorry to disturb you. I am Suche, Lu Ying's cousin, outside. The school was filled with students and parents picking up their children. Suche's bouquet of roses was both striking and bold. Some people recognized me and began to lead applause. They cheered, urging me to accept him. My face turned pale. What do you want? Don't be nervous. I just wanted to get to know you. Suche said with a slight smirk. I happened to see you once while waiting for Lu Ying and took an immediate liking to you. So today I came uninvited. Don't feel pressured. Just think of it as making a new friend. Even though Suche acted convincingly, I still sensed a hint of madness in his eyes. Feeling helpless, I suddenly spotted Jiang Jia in the corner. He was straddling a beaten-up motorcycle, a cigarette dangling from his lips. And he was glancing at me with a detached air. It was as if a drowning person had finally spotted a lifeline, and I rushed towards him. The familiar scent of motor oil on Jiang Jia helped me regain my composure. I turned to Suche and said, I've already explained to Lu Ying that I'm married. Suche clearly didn't expect that I was married. His smile froze, his gaze drifted to Jiang Jia, and a flash of hatred appeared in his eyes. He masked it quickly, but I caught it sharply. But why hatred? This was his first time meeting Jiang Jia. Why would he feel hatred? Suche quickly masked his expression and adjusted his mood. I was presumptuous. Not having looked into Miss Chen's personal circumstances beforehand, since I've already bought the flowers, I won't take them back. Let me just wish you a happy marriage. Then he extended them towards me. Flowers for a beautiful lady. I hope your husband doesn't mind. Before I could speak, Jiang Jia suddenly laughed. Who says I don't mind? He looked at Suche. I'm petty and can't stand seeing my beautiful wife accepting gifts from someone else. After saying that, Jiang Jia placed a pink helmet on my head, put it on. Looking at the brand new helmet, I inexplicably felt better. I couldn't help but ask, did you buy this especially for me? Picked it up from the trash. I grinned. Next time, can you pick up a blue one? I like blue. Jiang Jia raised an eyebrow. Pretending to take the helmet back, I hurriedly tightened it and tapped my finger on it twice. Does it look good? Jiang Jia's eyes twinkled with amusement as he pulled down the front visor of the helmet. Then he said, idiot, turning around. Suche had already left. After today's incident, everyone knew my husband was a mechanic. During the break, I overheard a few teachers discussing, he may be handsome, but he still ended up with that kind of husband. Did you see his motorcycle? It's so beat up, sounds like a tractor. Then everyone burst into laughter. Seeing me enter, someone deliberately asked, Xiaoxi, where does your husband fix cars? My husband just bought a Mercedes. We'll bring it to him for maintenance to support his business. Sure, I'll send you the address later. Lu Ying couldn't stand it anymore and dragged me out of the office. Are you out of your mind? They're mocking you to your face, and you don't talk back. You're attractive and have a decent job. Why would you settle for? Lu Ying paused, then spoke frankly, don't take this the wrong way, But you were just deceived fresh out of college. You always think love can outweigh the need for bread, but you'll regret it later. Honestly, consider my cousin. He doesn't mind that you've been married before. Luing, that's a nice bag. I interrupted Luing, my gaze landing on the Hermes on her desk. Is it new? Luing paused, her face flushing slightly.
Yeah.
Luing is just a salaried worker. It was clear who gave her the bag and why. I didn't press further. My husband and I are doing well. How we live our lives is our business. Let's not talk about him anymore. I don't like it. That day after work, Jiang Jie surprisingly didn't come on his motorcycle. Where's your bike? I sold it. Jiang Jie didn't elaborate. Just hooked up the corner of his mouth and said, let's go. He pulled me along, but in a different direction than usual. I wasn't sure what Jiang Jie was up to, but after walking about a few hundred meters, we stopped near a residential area close to my school, 3rd floor. Let's go up and have a look. I had a hunch but couldn't quite believe it. Reluctantly, I made my way to the 3rd floor where the door of the middle apartment was wide open. Stepping inside, I found a cozy 2-bedroom apartment. It was small, but the decor was exceptionally warm. The curtains, the color of the sky, fluttered slightly in the breeze. The setting sun poured through the window, filling the room with a golden glow. He remembered I liked blue. I can't describe how I felt. I've lived 2 lifetimes, in luxurious villas and in rundown bare shell buildings, but at that moment, my heart seemed to be filled with joy. You sold the motorbike to rent this place. Homes in the school district, though old, were not cheap. Jiang Jie's finances probably couldn't cover the hefty rent. Not mentioning the motorcycle, he simply said, it's close to your school, makes commuting easier. Besides, the other place didn't have hot water. You couldn't have handled that. Before he could finish, I turned and hugged Jiang Jie's waist. Taken aback by my sudden embrace, he paused for a moment before his arms wrapped around my back. All right, it's not time for tears yet. Cry for me tonight, okay? It wasn't serious. That night, Jiang Jie indeed made me cry, and as he held me, he kissed the corner of my mouth, his face radiating contentment. My wife was right. A double bed is indeed much better than a single. We should have moved earlier. When did I ever say that? I held back, resisting the urge to kick him out. The next day, a weekend, Jiang Jie and I had planned to go get some things from the old bare shell house, but in the afternoon, Jiang Jie hadn't returned home. I might not make it today. There's some trouble at the factory. He called to tell me. I didn't think much of it. Then I'll go alone. It wasn't much, just a suitcase. Jiang Jie's place was in disarray, and I didn't catch his response before hanging up. Jiang Jie never used to let me go there alone. The situation arose mainly because there were too many workers around, and Jiang Jie always felt unsafe. However, since it was broad daylight, picking something up seemed harmless. Unexpectedly, as soon as I entered the room, 3 or 4 workers followed me in. Is the young lady living here by herself? A chill ran through my heart. Who are you? Get out. We work here. How can we just leave? The leader among them laughed. We've seen you hanging around here like a man, having quite the wild time. How about you join us for some fun? The room was too empty, and I couldn't find anything to defend myself with. Gritting my teeth, I turned and ran towards the outside. The man reacted quickly, grabbing my hair and throwing me to the ground. You have a nice figure. I've been craving you for a long time, waiting for today. As he spoke, he pressed down on me. I struggled desperately, screaming wildly. Just as his hand was about to touch my clothes, the door was suddenly kicked open. The man on top of me was struck and fell to the ground. The other 2 workers moved to help. I'm the developer of this place. Are you sure you want to mess with me? The 3 men looked at each other, assessing the truth of that statement. After a moment, they cursed and ran off. Suche took off his suit jacket and covered me with it, then spoke to his assistant standing by. Find these people, and handle it as you see fit. The assistant nodded and left. Suche then looked down. Do you remember me? My hand tightened around the fabric. I don't. Returning the jacket to him, I picked up my suitcase. Thanks for your help today. As I walked past him, Suche suddenly grabbed my wrist. You seem very afraid of me. We're not close. Why should I be afraid of you? That's true. Suche released me. What brings you here? If I'm not mistaken, this building isn't even finished yet. It's none of your business. True, but I'm the developer of this land. Suche stared at me. What if I sue Jiang Jie for illegal residency, using that as a pretext? What do you really want? I want you. Suche made no effort to hide his intentions. Chen Xiaoxi, I've told you from the start. I want you. I've also said, I'm married. That's not my concern. I pressed my lips tightly together. He bent down to meet my gaze. That man can't give you the life you desire. You're a pearl that shouldn't be gathering dust in his hands. It's your choice whether you want your man to end up in jail, or to live a superior life with me. I tightened my grip on my suitcase and turned to leave. This time, Suche didn't stop me. Until I was out of the neighborhood, only then did I realize my whole body was trembling uncontrollably. 3 workers following me inside, and Suche's timely, heroic rescue. I simply couldn't believe this was all a coincidence. Living this life again, Suche was still the same. Anything he desired, he would stop at nothing to obtain. I called Jiang Jie several more times. No one was answering on the other side. It wasn't until the sky began to darken that I sensed something was amiss. Since our marriage, Jiang Jie had never come home this late. I rushed directly to the factory where he worked. The place was in complete disarray. I stopped an uncle who was cleaning. Do you know where Jiang Jia is, little Jiang? He's gone to the hospital. I was stunned, wondering why he would be at a hospital. The uncle shook his head. It's a misfortune. He encountered some unreasonable thugs. By the time I got the address and arrived at the hospital, Jiang Jia was already being wheeled out of the examination room. His face bore 2 streaks of blood, and his right arm was secured with a plaster cast. His muddy clothes were spotted with red. My tears couldn't be held back any longer. Jiang Jia, why are you here? He walked over and wiped my face with his other hand. There, I'm not dead, am I? No need for tears, even at a time like this. He still spoke so lightly. I felt a bit annoyed and was about to speak when I suddenly heard someone exclaim, "Holy shit, brother Jia, your wife is gorgeous, like a fairy." Then he muttered, "No wonder you don't hang out with us at night anymore. If I had a wife this beautiful, I wouldn't go out either." It was then that I noticed a young man standing behind Jiang Jia. He was young and staring straight at me. His gaze was clear, making him hard to dislike. His frank compliment made me somewhat embarrassed, yet Jiang Jia, in a good mood, curved his lips and said, "Stay away from my wife." After asking the doctor and learning that besides a minor fracture in the right hand, all other injuries were superficial, I felt somewhat relieved. "How did you get hurt like this?" Before Jiang Jia could speak, the boy blurted out, "We ran into an unreasonable jerk today. There was nothing wrong with the car, but he insisted that Jia had messed it up and demanded compensation. Of course, we disagreed. So he brought a bunch of guys to smash up the shop. Didn't you call the police?" "What's the use? That guy clearly has connections. A license plate with 5/8. Only someone with power and money could afford that. 5/8. Suddenly something clicked. "What kind of car was it?" "A black Hummer." The boy continued to sigh. "Now that we've angered such a big shot, what are we going to do, Jia? Do you think the boss will hold this against us?" I didn't catch what was said next. All I could see was darkness before my eyes. It was Su Che again. Suddenly, a hand grabbed my cheek. I winced in pain and looked directly into Jiang Jia's teasing eyes. Seeing his carefree demeanor, I felt puzzled. "Aren't you worried?" "Worried about what?" "About, you know. What comes next?" Jiang Jia scoffed. "Worst comes to worst, I'll just quit. What can they really do to me?" Then he smirked. "Besides, I still have my wife to support me. 3,000 a month, handing over my salary, right?" He was referring to when I proposed to him. My cheeks flushed again, with a soft I said, "I'll give you all my money." Jiang Jia flicked my forehead with his finger and called me a fool. Jiang Jia was fired. I overheard the garage owner on the phone with him saying, "I'm sorry about this, but the other party is too influential, and I'm powerless." Jiang Jia, smoking a cigarette, was expressionless. After hanging up the phone, he called out to me, "Wife." I thought he was going to discuss his dismissal with me. Just as I was thinking about how to comfort him, he said, "I think I smell bad. Help me take a bath." I was puzzled. Looking up, I saw no signs of dejection in Jiang Jia, and now a bath. My face turned a deep red. "Why do you always think about these things?" "What things?" Jiang Jia raised an eyebrow. "I just need help with the bath water because I can't get my right hand wet due to the cast." Then he whispered in my ear, "Or, do you have other ideas? Speak them out, even if it costs me an arm. I'd go to great lengths to satisfy you." Annoyed and embarrassed, I forgot about his unemployment and stormed off to the bathroom. I could still hear his cheerful laughter behind me. However, during the bath, Jiang Jia noticed something that happened to me during the day. His hand gently gripped my neck, and he frowned. "What happened here?" Only then did I notice the blood mark and several clear scratch marks on my neck, likely from struggling earlier in the day. I hastily covered it with my hair. "It was an accident." Jiang Jia scoffed. "You accidentally choked and scratched yourself, unable to hide it." I confessed. "I went to the unfinished building to get something and someone followed me." Seeing Jiang Jia's face darken instantly, I quickly explained, "But nothing bad happened. Someone saved me." Jiang Jia didn't respond. We stood frozen in place. In the cramped bathroom, the steamy mist faded, and a chill brushed against our skins. I shivered. Jiang Jia then realized and wrapped me in a towel. I tugged at his hand. "Are you angry? I shouldn't have let you go alone." Regret and concern were evident in his eyes, but the fault was clearly mine. I couldn't hold back anymore and blurted out everything I knew. "It was all Su Che's doing. He's the one who sent roses to me at school. The Hummer was his. He deliberately smashed the shop to trouble you. And he was the one who waited to rescue me. He even knew where we lived and said he would sue you. I don't know why he's so fixated on me. I'm sorry. It's all my fault. If it weren't for me." I couldn't continue and broke down sobbing. I wanted to cry out all the grievances of my past and present. I never provoked Su Che. Why won't he let me go? Seeing my distress, Jiang Jia wiped my face with the towel. "Why do you always shed tears so easily? Aren't you mad at me?" "Mad at you for what?" "For being beautiful, for having a charm that thieves can't resist on the street." How could he? His words dissipated the heavy emotions I felt, and I sniffled. "Jiang Jia, do you regret it?" I asked. "Regret what?" "Marrying me." Instead of answering, Jiang Jia countered, "What about you? Do you regret marrying a mechanic who had nothing and now has even lost his job?" I shook my head vigorously. If my wife doesn't regret it, why should I give a damn? He replied. A smile touched the corners of Jiang Jie's eyes. My wife, not even impressed by the richest son, chose a nobody like me. She's willing to be with me, even if it means pitching in financially. What do I have to complain about? Hearing this, I felt tears welling up again. In fact, I did start crying. I nestled into Jiang Jie's embrace. I love you. Jiang Jie stiffened, not expecting my declaration. He pulled me tightly against him and with a hoarse voice, he murmured, your man is right here. After that day, Jiang Jie became very busy. Despite being jobless, he was out early and came back late every day. I didn't know what he was up to, but it was probably also because he was shaken up by something that had happened to Su Che. Even though we moved next to the school, he insisted on picking me up and dropping me off every day. Just stay with the other teachers at school and don't wander around. Got it. I felt like laughing. I'm not a kindergarten kid. I'm not that fragile. Jiang Jie grinned. But you are to me, lately, though. Jiang Jie's social obligations seemed to have increased. Sometimes, when he couldn't make it, he asked a colleague he met at the hospital to help out, feeling embarrassed. I told the guy, it's just a short distance. I can walk on my own. Don't bother next time. That won't do. The guy grinned. I've sworn to complete the task Jiang Jie gave me. Besides, a fairy like you needs to be looked after. Unable to persuade the guy, I turned to Jiang Jie. Keep this up, and everyone will start calling you a henpecked husband. Jiang Jie didn't seem to mind and retorted, I love pampering my wife. What's it to them? It left me both crying and laughing. Then, one day at work, Lu Ying pulled me aside, looking all secretive, and showed me her phone. Isn't this your husband? I looked and saw Jiang Jie drinking with a woman who was strikingly beautiful. Besides Jiang Jie, there were 4 or 5 men around the woman. The room was dimly lit, and Jiang Jie's expression was unclear, but it was indeed him. My friend snapped this at the bar, and I thought the guy looked like him. Lu Ying said, watching me closely, I heard he got fired from the garage and now he's just a thug. Look at him, reduced to entertaining women for drinks. Is this your so-called true love? You better watch out, don't catch any diseases. Are you done? I asked, my face darkening. Lu Ying, you keep bad-mouthing my husband, taking photos, and stirring up trouble to push us toward divorce. You know very well what your intentions are. What exactly did Su Che offer you to? Just because I don't say anything doesn't mean I don't understand. From now on, unless it's about work, please don't come to see me alone. After saying this, I walked into the office. A little while later, Lu Ying entered. Her eyes were red. I faintly heard some colleagues comforting her, suggesting that I was ungrateful. That evening, Jiang Jie came home very late. You just got back. Yes, I sniffed. You've been drinking. Jiang Jie playfully rubbed his face against mine. Are you annoyed with me, huh? I dodged with a laugh, and Jiang Jie pulled me into his arms, sighed deeply. You've had it tough these days. I hugged him back and shook my head. The next morning, I noticed a scent of perfume on Jiang Jie's shirt. There was a faint lipstick mark on the cuff. Thinking of the photo Lu Ying showed me, my heart felt sour. If possible, I would rather Jiang Jie were just a mechanic. Days went by like this, but I never expected that one day I would actually catch Jiang Jie with another woman. That day I was out shopping with some fellow teachers. We passed by an expensive Western restaurant. Suddenly, a teacher tugged at my bag and asked uncertainly, Xiaoxi, doesn't that man look a bit like your husband? I looked over, and the man was sitting by the window. Opposite him was a woman with meticulous makeup. My heart sank. It wasn't just a resemblance. It was him. I looked pale, and my colleagues, sensing something was wrong, forced a laugh. It must be a business meeting. They seemed to be talking normally. I just hummed, not wanting to look anymore. Let's go. As I turned around, my colleague suddenly screamed and grabbed me. Xiaoxi, your husband. My heart tightened. Then I heard her say, he hit that woman. Me. I turned back quickly, just in time to see Jiang Jie had flipped the table over. He looked down disdainfully at the pale-faced woman, his mouth curled in mockery. I hurried over, just in time to hear Jiang Jie say, with that look of yours, still coveting me, what are you thinking? Then he walked out imposingly, and we locked eyes. The man, who had just been as proud as a little lion, didn't expect to see me and immediately deflated. Wife. Then he frowned and began to explain, I don't hit women, it was just an accident. My legs are long. I accidentally knocked over the table. I burst out laughing. I'm not blaming you. Jiang Jie breathed a sigh of relief. His lips twitched as he took my hand. Shall we go home then? It was only when we got home that I learned that Jiang Jie had been dealing with Su Che's sister these days. Her sales job was just a cover. She actually wanted to get close to his sister. Jiang Jie scoffed. Su Jie, she's quite wild, especially likes young men, and has done plenty of ridiculous things privately. I got close to her recently, reached out to their dark connections, and got a lot of information. They sold everything to their rival company. It's expected to make the headlines tomorrow. Although it's not a significant event, it's enough to throw the Su family into chaos for a while. With the Su family busy cleaning up their mess, Su Che probably won't have time to bother you. You did all this just to keep Su Che off my back? In a few days, I might need to go to Shenzhen. I won't be at ease if I don't block Su Che's path. Hearing that Jiang Jie was leaving, I immediately felt reluctant to let him go. Why are you suddenly going out? How long will you be gone? Maybe a week or so. If this trip goes well, I might have to travel frequently in the future. So, what Jiang Jia was actually busy with all this time was a transport company. I got to know some routes while fixing cars. Rented a few trucks to start with some runs. I didn't know much at first and had to do everything myself. He rubbed my head vigorously. Wait for me to come back. On the day Jiang Jia left, I still slipped my bank card into his pocket. It contained 70,000 yuan, all the savings I had amassed over the years, my entire fortune. I left a note. You should always carry money when you're outside. The pin is our birthdays. Come back safely. After Jiang Jia went on his business trip, the affair concerning Su Jiejia indeed hit the headlines, manipulated by others. It even dragged out other issues, a major scandal among the elite, sparking fervent public discussion. Su Che, stretched too thin, indeed did not show up again. My days became easier. At the end of the term, the selection for outstanding teachers began. Each school had only one spot. Based on preliminary research, the school had planned to nominate me, but on the day the results were announced, the name listed was Lu Ying. The school leadership was in a difficult position and talked to me, saying it was directed from above. Everyone understood the underlying reasons, leaving the principal's office. I saw Lu Ying. Since the photo incident, we had little contact. Lu Ying hummed lightly beside me and walked past without saying anything. Initially, this didn't cause any ripples in my heart, but later that night, while video calling with Jiang Jia, I couldn't hold back my grievances. I pouted, trying hard not to cry. Jiang Jia noticed something was off. What's wrong? Not wanting to worry him, I said, just watched a movie that made me feel choked up. Jiang Jia chuckled, silly. After hanging up, I vigorously slapped my own face, mocking myself for regressing. In my previous life, my father was wrongfully imprisoned, my mother was driven to severe illness, and I never shed a tear. Yet now, over such a trivial matter, I ended up crying in front of Jiang Jia. In the middle of the night, just as I was dozing off, I suddenly heard the sound of the door lock. My heart tightened. Worried it might be Su Che causing trouble, I picked up a baseball bat and stood behind the door. Waiting, the next second, the door opened, I swung the baseball bat, the person seemed prepared, caught it with a counter move, and then I heard a familiar teasing voice. What, keeping a lover outside, ready to murder your own husband? Surprised. Honey, how did you come back? My wife is feeling down. As her husband, I should be at home with her. How did you know I was feeling down? I'm not clueless. Did you really think your acting could fool me? The tears I had been holding back fell once again. Jiang Jia sighed. Such a crybaby. Jiang Jia came back just for one night and left early the next morning on the high-speed train. I didn't want him to go. He kissed my forehead. I've already registered the company in Shenzhen recently. You can come and see me during the summer break. I nodded vigorously and began to count the days on my fingers. Half a month passed. School was out. I couldn't wait and bought a ticket to Shenzhen. It was only when Jiang Jia drove me to his company that I realized it was different from what I had imagined. I thought Jiang Jia was just involved in regular transportation, managing a few trucks, but when I actually saw it, I realized it was a logistics company integrating e-commerce and express delivery services. It wasn't very large, but it had already taken on a lot of business. I was so surprised I couldn't speak. How did you come up with this idea? I remember in my previous life, Jiang Jia never came to Shenzhen. He was just an ordinary mechanic, later recognized by a foreign enterprise boss and jumped to a multinational automotive group. Then he left to lead his own research and development team, specializing in chip development. That's where he made his first pot of gold. Gradually, the business of automotive chips grew larger, and now, Jiang Jia's fate has changed because of me. He left the repair shop earlier than planned and never had the chance to meet that boss. He even moved to Shenzhen to start a logistics business. The e-commerce industry has been growing rapidly here in Shenzhen in recent years, and logistics is a gap in the market. Since I know a bit about cars, I invested the money I made previously into this to give it a try. What Jiang Jia didn't mention was that although we lived in Bin City before, the leading enterprises there were still dominated by the Su family-led group. In that environment, the resistance he would face in starting a business was imaginable. He had to venture out for my sake. On one hand, I felt sorry for him, but I couldn't help but admire his foresight. Because I believe that the logistics company Jiang Jia started will surely become an indispensable link in the e-commerce sector of Shenzhen. Jiang Jia had rented an apartment in advance. It was a small 2-bedroom, about the same size as our house in Bin City but 3 times the price. The cost of living is high here, and all my money has gone into the company, Jiang Jia said with a rare hint of embarrassment. I've used the money in your account. It was yours to begin with. Jiang Jia kissed the corner of my mouth. In the future, my salary will all be yours. The company was registered, and naturally, he couldn't keep running back and forth. I didn't have much affection for Bin City. After discussing with Jiang Jia, I decided to resign and move to Shenzhen. I stayed until the school term started, then went back to school to handle my resignation. By then, Jiang Jia's logistics company had begun to take shape, and as a pioneering entrepreneur, he was even invited for a few interviews. An old colleague who once talked about getting Jiang Jia to maintain a Mercedes-Benz came over to greet me when she saw me. "We saw your husband on TV the other day. I always said Jiang Jia had potential, and look, he's really made something of himself now." Another colleague joined in. "We must say, Xiaoxi has unique insight. If you know any other outstanding young people, you should introduce them to us too." I scanned the crowd gathered around me. They were the same group who had talked behind Jiang Jie's back that year. I didn't want to have too much to do with them. Just as I was about to exit the school gates, I suddenly heard someone calling my name. It was Lu Ying, dressed in a black uniform skirt. She quickly approached me. Her tone was somewhat stiff as she immediately said, "I previously took advantage of some small benefits to pair you up with my cousin, and I owe you an apology." I pursed my lips. "No need to apologize to me." "Wait," Lu Ying grabbed my hand. "Xiaoxi, I'm sorry. I was forced to do it." After hearing those words, I lost consciousness. When I woke up, I found myself lying on a bed. The mattress was soft, the room was spacious, with roses blooming outside the floor-to-ceiling windows. This was the villa I had lived in for 10 years. My mind was momentarily confused. I couldn't distinguish the events of these two lives. Could it be that I hadn't died? Was I still in the villa? And everything had just been a dream. While I was lost in my thoughts, the door to the room was pushed open. Suche entered. Awake, I subconsciously tried to get up, only to find myself completely weak and unable to muster any strength. "Stop struggling, you can't move." I thought of Lu Ying before I passed out. "Is it you, Suche? Do you realize that depriving someone of their freedom is illegal?" After I spoke, Suche burst out laughing as if he had heard a joke. "Depriving freedom? Chen Xiaoxi, you were always mine." He approached me, his eyes filled with obsessive madness. "You don't understand. We have always been a couple, living right here." At that moment, I finally understood why, despite my careful avoidance, I still couldn't escape Suche. It turns out, he was reborn too. I calmed down completely. "Always a couple? Suche, every day I spent with you felt like an eternity. It was worse than death, if it hadn't been for your threats about my parents. Why would I ever live here with you?" Hearing my words, his face filled with shock. "You, that's right. I remember everything from before." I looked at Suche. "So in this lifetime, I won't give you any chance to hurt me again." "How could I bear to hurt you?" "No, Xiaoxi, you love me. We were together for 10 years. It was my fault. I shouldn't have left you alone in that villa. Otherwise you wouldn't have." He didn't finish his sentence, but I knew he meant to say otherwise I wouldn't have died. Hearing this, I wanted to laugh. "Suche, don't you understand why after my parents died, I still stayed by your side? It was because I was gathering evidence to avenge my parents. I have to see you go to prison. How else could I be satisfied? You wanted to know why your company's secrets were leaked? Why those dirty deeds you thought were perfect were known to the police? It was all because of me. My goal is to make you pay for your crimes." Enough, not enough. I decided to spill it all at once. After you went to prison, the fire was set by me. I wanted you to lose everything, including everything you touched. They already tainted me. Why did I love you so much? In my previous life, I refused Suche's pursuit. He tricked my father into taking a high-interest loan and then forced me to be with him. My father didn't want me to suffer and turned himself in. My mother, overwhelmed with anger and deteriorating health, was cut off from medical resources by Suche, forcing me to move into the villa. I looked at Suche and coldly laughed. "Love, you don't even deserve to speak of it." After saying that, I got up from the bed, moving my restricted limbs. Suche was stunned. "How can you? How can I move?" I looked at him emotionlessly. "In my last life, you drugged me, causing me to lose my honor to you. How could I make the same mistake twice?" With that, I signaled outside. Hidden police officers broke through the door. Suche was frantic, still pleading with me. "Xiaoxi, let's forget everything and start over, okay? I don't care about what you did. I forgive you," I said softly as I saw Jiang Jia slowly appearing at the door. I quickly ran over. As I passed by Suche, I whispered, "But I don't forgive you." Suche was taken away, feeling as if all my strength had left me. I collapsed into Jiang Jia's arms. "Husband, is there anything you want to ask me?" Jiang Jia shook his head. "It's all in the past." Yes, it was all in the past. All the rights and wrongs had nothing to do with me anymore. From now on, I am simply Jiang Jia's wife. "When you have time, can we go visit my parents?" I asked. Jiang Jia smiled slightly and replied, "Sure." From the first day of my rebirth, I found an excuse to have my parents leave Bin City and return to their rural hometown. They retired early, and life was quite comfortable. They didn't know about my marriage to Jiang Jia, and I didn't dare tell them. During the new year, Jiang Jia brought lots of goods to my parents' house to celebrate the new year and, incidentally, to ask for their blessing for our marriage. In March of the same year, we finally held our wedding. Having lived 2 lifetimes, it was the first time I wore a wedding dress. Jiang Jia's parents had passed away, and he had grown up without any relatives. Only my parents came from both sides. As the man bowed and served tea, calling out Mom and Dad, I clearly saw the tears in his eyes. Somehow, I suddenly thought of my previous life. When I died, Jiang Jia was nearly 40 and still alone. He had never been involved in any scandals. He seemed more like a celestial being, pure and detached from earthly desires. "If you hadn't married me, what kind of wife would you have looked for?" I couldn't help but ask Jiang Jia that night. I don't know, Jiang Jia pondered for a moment. Maybe I wouldn't have looked for anyone, I got used to being alone. Then why did you accept my proposal? Hearing this, Jiang Jia seemed to reminisce. Something came to mind, and he smiled. He said, at that time, I thought having someone else would be nice. Moreover, a beautiful wife like you. I widened my eyes. So, were you swayed by my looks? Probably not, since you also had the bank card. Jiang Jia tried not to laugh. I was tempted by the money, too. Seeing me pout, Jiang Jia kissed me on the forehead. Thank you, wife, for giving me a home. No, it should be me thanking Jiang Jia, living twice. I finally found true love.